I think for most people, if they could earn $2,000 online or without working a normal job, it would change their life. Because I know so many people work jobs that they don't want to do, things that they don't enjoy day to day, 5 days a week, weeks on end, months on end, years on end, and that is their life. And they just think, if I could just have a bit more freedom, if I could maybe travel with my work, if I could have some online income, then that would be life changing. And I think it's more possible today than it ever is before. I'm not going to make this video about how you could clip little videos using AI, like you've heard that a million times before. I just wanted to make this video because there's been a few ways that I've found ways to make money without having a 9 to 5 job, and I thought it would be useful, valuable, and yeah, I think I can offer some advice to you if you are looking to earn a bit of money. It might not be life changing. $2,000 isn't going to change your life completely, is it? It's not going to give you the Lamborghini that you might think of. It's not going to, you're not going to be able to be living in Dubai. It's not going to give you that lifestyle, but it will give you a level of freedom that most people have never had and quite frankly probably never will have. And I think that's invaluable to you, and I think it can be a massive stepping stone, and realizing, as a young guy, you can probably go a long way with $2,000. You don't need to have expensive stuff. You can live a fairly minimalistic life and think, this is quite good. I'm actually quite happy. I've got a lot of autonomy over my life. Yeah, I'm working, which is good because that's important. We need to have purpose in our life, but I don't have a boss to answer to. I don't have to get up at a certain time, and I don't have to commute in traffic and deal with office politics and all this bullshit that you don't care about. And quite frankly, it offers nothing to your life. It's making people very miserable. And like I said, I've experienced that myself. I've worked office jobs. I've done most jobs I've done. I haven't enjoyed it at all. I don't think people are meant to work 9 to 5 jobs. It's not good for you as a human being, to be honest. So the first one I wanted to talk about was buying and selling. So I have done a lot of this over the last 4 or 5 years on platforms such as Vinted, eBay, Gumtree, decent platforms in the UK to use. That if you're selling things, there's a lot of people clutter so much stuff in their house, and I'm quite a minimalist myself, and I don't like a lot of stuff. And you realize how little we actually need to survive and what actually makes us happy and benefits our life. There's a lot of things that we realize, we don't need this at all. And this would be 2 birds with 1 stone, because we don't need it. It's cluttering our life. It's making our life more complex than it needs to be. And also we can earn some money from this. So by setting up a platform, it's easy to do so on any of these platforms, as I mentioned, and you can pretty much just start doing this. And it's very, anyone could do this. It doesn't require any effort, start cost. You just list your things, take some photos, list them up, send your items away. It's really, really easy. And you could do this with furniture. You could do this with clothes. I've done that quite a lot, especially on Vinted and eBay. It's a decent little way to make money. Are you going to make enough money to support your life? It's questionable, but if you could have this as multiple kind of side hobbies that you work on, then it can give you a nice little return every single month. So it's something that you can use. And just with your clothes, like after a while, it's nice to kind of move on the clothes that you have right now onto a new wardrobe or whatever that is. So you can basically just keep recycling your clothes, like the ones you're wearing right now. In a few months you'll be like, I don't want this anymore. But instead of keeping it and just, it takes up so much space and mental fatigue, you can just sell this stuff and then buy some new stuff. And if you're quite smart and you do some research, you can actually end up making profit on this overall. So you basically just rented that item and then sold it on, and you just kind of rinse and repeat. And like I said, you can make some profit on this as well. And obviously you can buy stuff, and you don't have to have it for yourself. You can just buy it and then find products that work, test the market out, and then just sell them on. It's easily done, and it's one of the methods that I've used to build a bit of side income. The next one has been trading stocks for me. So I think investing is one of the most important things you can do as a young man. I think it's very imperative, especially with the way the job market is right now. It's very difficult to find something with stability, and like I say, a lot of people, you don't really want to be working a job that you don't really find purposeful, you don't really enjoy. It's just how it is for a lot of people. So I think learning about investments, learning how to trade stocks is a very important thing to do. And it does come with a lot of risks. So when I talked, a lot of people ask me about this, and I'm like, probably best to start off in index funds, because things can go very wrong. You have to understand there's a lot of risk involved with trading stocks. You've got to play the long game. You've got to have a fair degree, understanding of knowing what you get involved with. Don't get involved with stuff that you don't know. It sounds very simple, but a lot of people, including myself when I was younger, would get involved with stuff that I don't have a clue. I don't even know what that company does, and I'm investing in it, which, like, rationally that sounds extremely stupid, but you've probably yourself, if you've been in investing before, you kind of learn from experience, like, this is something that does happen. But honestly, it can be a very lucrative way to earn a bit of money without really doing anything, pressing the buy and sell button. If you can find a way of making £500, $600, $700, $800 a month from doing this, again, you add this to a different method that I might mention later on in this video, or one you already have yourself, or your part-time, full-time job that you're trying to leave, then this can be a decent way to boost your income. So that's one of the methods I've used. Another method that I'm really liking right now, and this again does come with a upfront cost, and that is Airbnb, which you can do in different ways. You can buy a house, which is extremely difficult nowadays, and rent a room out. That can be very lucrative, especially if you get in the right locations. Or you could rent a property and then do rent to rent, basically. So you would basically rent out your apartment or house or whatever it is, or maybe just a room whilst living on this. And as long as you have permission to do so, this can be a nice little side earner for you. And this could either kind of basically cut your living costs. Like, you could live there and basically sublet that to someone else, and that would, basically cover your costs to live there. Or you might decide, okay, I don't want to live there, I'm use this as an investment, this is a smart thing. You might then try and short-term let it using Airbnb and rent it out for 2, 3, 4, 5 nights at a time, and day to day that would potentially, and hopefully for you, give you a higher income than just renting it out for a whole month. And that's why it can be lucrative, because you think, well, surely I can't rent that out for more than they're asking for a month. Well, that's why you try short-term lets, and that could be an option. If you are interested in real estate like myself, and like I say, it can be extremely lucrative, and having a property yourself can be good as well in the long run. You can take equity out of that. It's a base for you to have. There's a lot of pros to property owning it, despite having a lot of new legislation that makes it more difficult to first own a property, and to make it profitable it is a lot more difficult. But at the end of the day, if you're not owning some type of property, you're going to be paying someone else. So it's still always going to be a good thing. And you have to remember, supply and demand, it's basic economics. And where I'm from in the UK, like, there's only so much land where property can be built, and that's why it's been a major issue in this country and a lot of other countries, and that's why prices have gone up and are likely to continue to go up over time. Like I say, playing that long game, you have to be in it for that if you want to make good returns and have lucrative investments. The next one could be just doing some type of odd jobs. You could be doing household jobs. You could, be jet washing people's pavement patios, doing magazine deliveries. That could be an option. Polishing furniture, just asking, posting to be like, I'm happy to do anything. If it doesn't require a lot of skill, I'm your guy for it. Charge a low rate, post little leaflets around your area, especially if you're in a nice area. The people have a decent amount of disposable income, and they're willing to pay for you to do little odd jobs. And especially if you can build up a little reputation. The same with a lot of these kind of things that I've mentioned. You can then use this as leverage to start charging a bit more. You'll also boost your skills over time. You'll meet different people, build connections. So there's a lot of stuff that's involved in this, in terms of not just in terms of the income that you can get, but also things that could benefit your life in the long run. And you can use that as a platform to go on and enhance your earnings and enhance your life. And another one which is kind of links to this is just start a boring business. Is that a lot of people are wanting to start this AI business, wanting to start drop shipping, Amazon FBA. You see all this types of like stuff that everyone's kind of doing, and they're kind of failing, and they're trying to like, they portray a certain life. Yeah, they'll rent the Lamborghini for a week, they'll get the fancy Airbnb in a third world country and make it look like they're balling out of control. Unfortunately, like, this isn't the reality for a lot of people, and I'm just forewarning you that if you are to get involved with stuff like this could be your reality. And it's also not a very fulfilling thing to do, doing little clips on AI and posting it on TikTok. It's not going to bring you a lot of fulfillment and purpose, and there's probably going to be someone better than you out there realistically. So honestly, for most people, I would just avoid doing this type of stuff at all costs, because I'd give it a wide berth. It's heavily saturated. Long term, is it going to be lucrative? I don't think a lot of these ways are, unless you know people in the business, unless you're really doing it yourself and you're making a lot of money. Yeah, I'm sure that's very good for you. But for a lot of people starting and thinking, okay, how can I earn a bit of money on the side? How can I quit my job that I don't want to do anymore? Don't think doing these kind of methods are the best way. So doing kind of like a boring business, this could be in the form of, I don't know, vending machines. It could be owning a set of storage units. It could be owning rentals. It's stuff that people need, and it's not very exciting, and it may not give you amazing returns, but over the long run it can be a steady little income that you can get on the side. And people need it. People are going to ask for storage. People want some type of service required. Maybe you're practical, you want to start a little electrical business, fitting garage doors, stuff like this. This can be lucrative because there's far less competition in stuff that is out there, is hands-on, stuff you physically have to do, rather than the other ones that I previously mentioned that are a lot more saturated, and everyone wants to do it because it's easy to get started and it feels good and you could do it anywhere in the world. It sells a lot better. But honestly, you could have the monopolies, especially if you're maybe in a smaller area and no one's kind of started one of these businesses before. That could be a very smart move for you. And another one that I've had is working for a business, working for someone that, like I've said, I'm trying to give you ways to find income without working a job. This would be somewhat working. Like, you could go work for a business, work for someone that you want to get involved with, but you would learn so much from this. And even if the pay might not be too good, if you are learning, having a mentor, basically you're having a mentor for free, and hopefully they'll pay you something. And the skills you're going to learn are going to be invaluable to your long-term career. And hopefully, you can kind of be that apprentice. And the earlier you can do this, especially if they're doing something that can be quite lucrative, that can give you massive returns in the long run, something you actually find interesting and care about, like, this can be a very smart move for you to be like, hey, can I like basically be your apprentice? Can I like learn under you? Can I just like come around and spend one day a week just watching what you do, even if like you're not even working for them? Or be like, can I just do a bit of work for you? I don't even want to get paid, or like you can just pay me like a minimum amount for a week or something. Like, you could learn so much from that, and it could change so much up here, which is what a lot of people need, like that change of environment. They might be going to different places, and like, honestly, like, that can be so valuable for you, having mentors, seeing how other people actually operate. And like, there's people out there making more money than you believe. Yes, like I say, you have to be skeptical to an extent with social media, but there genuinely are, like, I know people making $10,000-$20,000 and stuff online. Like, it's possible. And not even just online, like I say, service-based businesses can be even higher returns than this. And there's a lot of ways that you can do this without having to work that kind of that 9 to 5 job, the job that you don't want to do. And it's starting small. It's just doing little things, trying things and seeing what works. And you can try different methods, and eventually, if you keep trying, the same with anything in life, you keep shooting your shot, eventually something's going to land. So hopefully this has been somewhat encouraging for you. These are just different ways that I've had, that I've thought of. I've worked jobs and I've not enjoyed them myself. And like I say, if you can just find a way to earn a bit of money, it's going to be different amounts for different people depending on how expensive your lifestyle is, what type of life you want to live. But honestly, like if you can find a way to just earn $2,000 a month without working a job that you don't want to do anymore, that can change your life. That can change so much up here and give you a sense of freedom, a sense of autonomy that you can actually go and push on for something more in life. If hopefully that's what you want, you have the ambition to do so. And if you can earn 2,000, then why not 5? Why not 10? Like, the world can be your oyster, but it's just starting somewhere. And yeah, it might be small and it doesn't sound sexy, and it might not be the most exciting thing to do, but it's important. And hopefully some of these ideas can be helpful for you and you'll take them on board. And one of these ideas will work for you and it could be the start of your new venture. So if it has, leave a like, drop a comment if you have any more ideas. I'm sure other people would really appreciate that if you find a different way to make a bit of income on the side, replace your full-time income. That'd be really useful. Drop it in a comment. Like I say, leave a like and drop a subscribe if you're new around here. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.